The rally continues on Wall Street following good October producer price index numbers where prices slide 0.5%, the biggest drop since April 2020. Stocks in the Asia-Pacific open largely lower as investors watch for developments from the Xi-Biden meet. The GIFT Nifty is indicating a slightly higher start for the Indian market. Crude prices slipped more than 1.5% overnight on a higher than expected rise in U.S. crude inventories. Brent now trades around $81 a barrel mark. U.S. President Joe Biden and Chinese Premier Xi Jinping have their first bilateral meet in a year. The U.S. President says that the two countries should not veer into conflict, while Xi Jinping says that the U.S. and China turning their backs on each other is not an option. Reserve Bank of India orders Bajaj Finance to stop loan disbursal via two of its lending products. RBI says the action is due to non-compliance to provisions of the digital lending guidelines introduced in September last year. Team India are through to the finals of the Cricket World Cup. A blistering start from Captain Rohit Sharma and centuries from Shreyas Iyer and Virat Kohli sees India set the Kiwis a target of 398 runs. In form pacer, Mohammad Shami picks up 7 wickets, restricting the Kiwis to 327 runs and stealing Team India's spot in the final. Good morning in the Mumbai News Centre. I'm Sonal Bhutra. You're watching Power Breakfast. Those are the top headlines. Most of the cues looking really positive, including India's win yesterday in the semi-finals. But of course, we have to take a look at what the Asian markets are doing as well. So let's quickly do that because today they have come in for a bit of profit taking. So largely the Asian screen is not looking so green, despite the fact that Wall Street rallied yesterday as well. So we have the Hang Seng, which is down around 0.8% as we speak. But the Taiwanese index, that is the one which is managing to be in the green, up around 0.2%. But it's only Taiwan which is actually doing well. Apart from that, if you look at the other markets, be it Nikkei, which is down 0.4%, we have Straits Times, which is down 0.7%. Even the Kospi is sitting with some cuts. But if we look at the GIFT Nifty, because that will be an indication of what our markets will be like. So that one is indicating a mild open in the green. The implied open is suggesting an uptick of around 30 points for our own markets. So looks like despite the weakness that we are seeing in the Asian markets, there could be some green on our screen. It's indicating an open above that 19,700 mark as we speak. But let's talk about the U.S. markets. Wall Street ended Wednesday's trading session higher, with the Dow Jones gaining over 160 points, the S&P up 7 points, and the tech-heavy Nasdaq closing with gains of about 9 points. The producer price index, a measure of wholesale prices, fell by 0.5% in October, marking its largest one-month decline since 2020. However, retail sales for the month of October fell 0.1% in the first monthly decline since March, but lesser than the estimated 0.3% decline. As two data prints in the United States indicate that inflation could be potentially closer to the Fed's target, let's listen into some important opinion coming in on what could the Fed do next in terms of rates and the inflation trajectory.
We felt there was little chance for another raise in December. There's one more FOMC meeting this year in December. I think it completely took it off the table for now, and I think we can look toward next year. We're in a pause. Our sense is that the Fed is pretty pleased. Given that, as recently as March 22, it's hard to believe, right? 18 months ago, they were still buying $120 billion in treasuries and mortgages a month. They clearly waited too long. The first rate increase was 15 months ago, and I think it was June or July 2022. 550 basis points, unprecedented, and yet the economy is moving forward, and frankly, the bond and equity markets are kind of in balance.
November is one of the very best months of the year. It's certainly proving to be great news on inflation. What I would say is that Jay Powell has to be on the lookout. We are slowing. I'm not saying we're going into recession at all, but he has to be as sensitive to the real data going down, as he claims he's so hypersensitive to that inflation data. I really think the next move is going to be a cut. Even if there isn't a recession, just because of the slowdown, I would say it's all clear on the inflation front.
All right, that's the global market action. But how will these overnight cues impact our own markets? We have our research team joining in to tell you just that. What is the trade setup looking like, the stocks that are likely to win the news, and the action from the F&O space as well. Hey guys, a very good morning to all of you. Vivek, let me come across to you first up. Some profit taking in Asian markets, but overall looking like a decent morning.
Well, you're absolutely right. Yesterday we opened higher and, we ended near the day's highest point. So, very, very strong closing yesterday. And, what everyone was looking forward to was the kind of close that, global equity markets gave. And yesterday, while it wasn't, rip-roaring rally like we've seen in the last couple of trading sessions, despite that, all of the US markets managed to end in the green, which is very positive news flow. In fact, when you're talking about the Dow Jones, gain for the fourth straight session. Along with that, further positive news flow. Crude oil prices continued softening. Now Brent futures trading just around the $81 a barrel mark. So that again is quite positive as far as Indian markets are concerned. Yesterday, Nifty managed to close above the 19,650 level. All sectoral indices, were in the green. Top gainers, IT, rupee sensitives, IT. You also saw rate sensitives like realty, auto, all of these sectors doing very, very well. And even within IT, the mid-cap IT stocks were in a rally, which actually saw some of them gaining between 3 to 5%. So very, very strong moves as far as IT was concerned. Along with that, both FIs as well as DIs bought in the cash market. FIs bought over 550 crore, DIs bought over 600 crore. So some positive moves are coming in, even as far as the cash market was concerned. Like you mentioned, today morning slightly mixed cues as far as Asia is concerned. GIFT Nifty 2 is indicating a very flattish start for our own markets. But, as long as Nifty manages to stay above the 19,600, 650 level, markets will not be very concerned.
Okay, all right. So that's all about the market setup, but a lot of stocks that will be on our radar as well. Abhishek is joining us now.
Well, to begin with Bajaj Finance, RBI has directed Bajaj Finance to stop sanction and disbursals of loans under e-com as well as Insta EMI cards. Now, action against Bajaj Finance is due to non-adherence of digital lending guidelines that had been framed by RBI in 2022. So, Bajaj Finance has given out a press release as well, and they say that there is no material financial impact on the company expected on account of the RBI ban, and they will adhere to what RBI is saying. Another one is Suzlon, their S144 3 megawatt to 3.15 megawatt wind turbine series that has got RLMM listing from government. RLMM is revised list of models and manufacturers. VST Tillers, they have unveiled 3 new tractors at an event in Hanover, Germany. The 3 products are 929 EV, 932 DI with stage 5 engine, and 929 with HST transmission. Rate gains, sources say that they have launched a QIP of about 600 crores, which has 400 crore as the base size, and that can be scaled up to 600 crore based on the demand. Indicative prices around 643 per share, which is a discount of 9.7% to yesterday's closing price and 5% discount to SEBI floor price. Paytm, that is 197 Communication, they have partnered with global travel technology company Amadeus to redefine travel experience with artificial intelligence. Back to you.
Okay, all right. Those will be some stocks in focus today, but let's talk about the F&O space as well. Nigel is joining in with all the QZ. Nigel, morning.
Well, morning, Sonal. Yesterday, what a beautiful trading session it was, right? We started higher and we ended higher than where we started. So you like that sort of a screen. What's playing out now in terms of flows? The FIs, they bought after many, many trading sessions. But more importantly, the net institutional number, look at the FI and the DI number, you put it together. Now, that was the largest inflow we saw yesterday all the way since October 23rd. So that's pretty good news. That's one factor that's playing out. The second factor that's playing out is now the FIs are adding long positions. Yes, you heard that right. They added close on 4,500 long positions yesterday, and they added more longs than shorts. And now the short positioning has come down to around 80% odd, or in absolute terms, around 1.43 lakh contracts. On the option side, yesterday there was writing being seen on a couple of strikes. 19,600 put, 19,650 put. Remember, both those two strikes will expire today because you have the Nifty weekly expiry that plays out today. And there was very aggressive writing being seen out there. So close to 2.1 crore shares were added out there. The premiums had come down on both those two strikes, which gives you the sense that since 19,600, 19,650 put is seeing writing and premium is being eaten, well, you have your support zone. That's at around 19,550 to 19,600. That's the support level that you're looking at. The 50 DMA, well, that as well is in that vicinity. So that's a crucial level on the downside. Now, in fact, with the kind of close you had yesterday, 20,000 seems to be on the card. So let's see how that goes. But in the near term, that'll be your support zone. The Nifty Bank needs to join the party as well. And it's facing some bit of resistance at the 50 as well as the 100 DMA. Both those two levels come up for you in the screen. So this 44,200 to 44,500 is a bit of a congestion zone. You like the Nifty Bank to get past that. And if that happens, the Nifty get closer to around the 20,000 odd mark. Back to you, Sona.
Okay, just not a beautiful trading session, right, Nigel? It was a beautiful match, of course, when we all were like tuned into it till the night. And so bleed blue is what really happened yesterday.
Indeed, Sonal, very, very excited. But since we had to focus on market, I said, let's focus on that. But cracker of a day yesterday and a cracker of a match as well sets us up for Sunday, right? So looking forward to that.
Yes.
Chak de diya.
Absolutely. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us and prepping us up for this trading day ahead. With that, we'll slip into a break. Up next, the RBI has directed Bajaj Finance to stop the sanction and disbursal of loans under 2 of its lending products with immediate effect. More on that when we return. Stay tuned for that. Welcome back. You're still tuned into Power Breakfast on CNBC TV 18 to some important stock-related news updates now. The Reserve Bank of India orders Bajaj Finance to stop loan disbursal via 2 of its lending products. Abhishek is joining us with all details on this.
Well, RBI has taken action against Bajaj Finance. They have asked Bajaj Finance to stop sanctions and disbursals of loans under 2 key lending products, that is Ecom and Insta EMI cards, with immediate effect. So action is against a non-adherence of the company to the extent of digital guidelines that was issued by RBI in 2022 with respect to non-issuance of key fact statements to borrowers. Now, supervisory restrictions will be reviewed later, and upon rectifications of the steps mentioned by RBI, the said deficiencies to the satisfaction of RBI as and when it takes place, it will be lifted. Now, first time RBI has issued action against like this under digital guidelines. Bajaj Finance is a systematically important NBFC, and Bajaj Finance has a credit rating of AAA by CRISIL as well as ICRA. Now, details of the products, total EMI cards issued, that is card in force, is close to about 4.2 crores in as of Q2 FY24. It grew by 22% YOY and more than 10% sequentially. EMI cards acquired grew by 30% YOY and about 5.7% quarter-on-quarter in Q2 FY24. Bajaj Finance has also given a press release. They say that there is no material financial impact on the company on account of RBI action, and they will rectify on RBI's observation and comply with the directions at the earliest. Now, brokerages like IFL Securities says that EMI cards acquisition accounts for almost 18% to 20% of Bajaj Finance new customer acquisition. These cards also form, around 2% of the AUM with respect to fee income that can drag Bajaj Finance profitability in the near term. Back to you.
Okay, all right. Bajaj Finance will be the big stock to watch out for today. With that, we'll slip into a break. When we come back, we'll get to the key highlights from the meeting held between US President Joe Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping in California. Stay tuned for that. Welcome back. Let's talk about the big global event. US President Joe Biden and China's President Xi Jinping have been holding talks in the United States on the sidelines of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation event. This is Xi's first time in the US after 6 years. CNBC's Sam Vadas has all the details.
What we know from what they said at this meeting was that Biden did tell Xi that they have to ensure that competition does not veer into conflict and that they do need to manage that competition between the two sides. It's important, though, for the US and China to work together, and he did certainly highlight climate change and artificial intelligence. Now, as far as what President Xi Jinping had to say to Biden, he said that turning their back on each other is not an option. They said competition is not the way to go, the Chinese side. They can't solve problems that way. And Xi also called for respect and said it's unrealistic for one side to remodel the other. As far as what President Xi Jinping wants from all of this, the view is that one of the big ones is looking for reassurances from the US when it comes to Taiwan, not backing that independence, although we were speaking to analysts yesterday suggesting that that doesn't veer too far from US policy anyway. President Xi Jinping is then likely to go on, or expected at least, to meet with US business leaders tonight for a dinner that is stateside, of course, San Francisco time, at a time when, of course, he is trying to court foreign investment and convince these foreign companies to keep their money over in China. However, analysts that we've been discussing this with have certainly said that this could be a hard sell, particularly given the lack of policy direction, clarity in China right now, and of course, given what we're seeing with the economy.
Okay, and after meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping, US President Joe Biden held a press conference to address their main topics of discussion. Listen in to what he had to say.
Today, build on the groundwork we laid over the past several months of high-level diplomacy between our teams. We've made some important progress, I believe. First, I'm pleased to announce that after many years of being on hold, we are restarting cooperation between the United States and PRC on counter-narcotics. Secondly, and this is critically important, we're reassuming military-to-military contacts, direct contacts. So we're back to direct, open, clear, direct communications on a direct basis. It's important for the world to see that we're implementing the approach in the best traditions of American diplomacy. We're talking to our competitors, and the key, and just talking, just being blunt with one another, so there's no misunderstanding, as a key element to maintaining global stability and delivering for the American people. And in the months ahead, we're going to continue to preserve and pursue high-level diplomacy at the PRC in both directions, to keep the lines of communication open, including between President Xi and me. He and I agreed that each one of us could pick up the phone, call directly, and would be heard immediately.
Okay, these are the updates coming in from US President and Chinese President's meeting in the US. But let's move on and let's get you the latest update from the conflict in West Asia. In an escalation of its offensive in Gaza, Israeli troops conducted a raid at the Al-Shifa hospital yesterday. The Israeli ministry released a video showing weapons and terror infrastructure seized during the raid. Israel also alleged that Hamas is using the hospital as its command center. However, both Hamas and Gaza health authorities have denied these claims. Meanwhile, the first truck carrying fuel since the start of the war entered Gaza to deliver fuel to the UN aid trucks. The UN Security Council has also approved a resolution calling for extended humanitarian pauses in Gaza. Okay, with that, we'll move on and get you all the updates which are coming in from the commodity markets. Manisha Gupta is joining us as always. Hey, Manisha, good morning.
Morning, Sonal. Well, I'll start with the crude oil prices, where we have seen declines being extended. Remember, the month of October ended on a weaker note, and November, whatever we've seen until now, has been on the weaker side as well. This is because the U.S. crude output is at a record high. The market also are looking at the U.S. crude inventories gaining more than double what the street was anticipating. And then the Chinese oil refinery output also has eased in the previous month in October. The markets also are looking at weaker data in sense of China, where the new home prices fell for a fourth straight month. Of course, the U.S. and China meeting is something that the street seems to be digesting right now. The countries agreeing to resume military talks is something that seems to be taking safe haven markets, safe haven away. So there is some decline that we're looking at in sense of gold prices as well as we start a new Asian day right now.
Okay, all right, Manisha, thank you so much for joining us and giving us all those details. Moving on now, 40 workers remain trapped after an under-construction tunnel on a national highway collapsed in Uttarakhand on Sunday. The plan to drill through the debris had failed earlier, but a more powerful drilling machine is being brought from Delhi with the help of the Indian Air Force. This new machine will assist the NDRF, SDRF and BRO teams in creating escape passages to bring the labourers out. The machine can penetrate into 4 to 5 meters of debris in an hour and help push the rescue pipe to the spot where the labourers are trapped. Some family members and other labourers held a protest near the site, questioning the delay in rescue operations. According to the authorities, the trapped workers will be rescued by tonight. Okay, this is a story on which we'll keep updating you because this has not seen a conclusion yet. But let's move on now because the payback is complete. Team India comprehensively defeated the Kiwis at the Wankhede in Mumbai to seal their spot in the final of the Cricket World Cup. Batting first, India put up a total of 397 runs, aided by a blistering start from captain Rohit Sharma, a couple of centuries from Shreyas Iyer and Virat Kohli, and a handy 80 from Shubman Gill. The Kiwis, while chasing chasing, lost 2 early wickets followed by a 181-run stand for the third wicket, which was broken by in-form bowler Mohammad Shami, who picked up a record 7 wickets on the night. The pacer was also named man of the match and with 7 wickets for 57 runs posted the best bowling figures by an Indian in World Cups. Okay, all right. On that exciting note, we'll do one thing. We'll take your leave on this edition of Power Breakfast, but there's a lot lined up. Bazaar Morning Call comes up next, so stay tuned to CNBC TV 18.